lagi dengan kita di sini di ARKENAS. Kali ini kita kedatangan tamu spesial ya, peneliti asing kita, Pak Max. Halo Pak Max. Halo. Pak, thank you. It's really like to. Ini saya sorry ya, ini pakai bahasa Inggris karena Pak Max nggak bisa pakai bahasa Indonesia, jadi kita pakai bahasa Inggris aja gitu. Tapi ya bahasa Inggris saya little bit gitu. Okay, Pak Max, can you introduce yourself to our audience?
Yeah. So Max, I work at Griffith University in Australia, and so I've been working in Indonesia for a long time now, maybe since 2012, maybe 11 or 12. I think the first time I came to Indonesia, so I was working in Sulawesi. So I tried to date the rock art. So what I essentially do is I'm trying to date the paintings. So there's lots and lots of rock art in Indonesia, and some of it is very old. So we showed, for example, that in Sulawesi, in Borneo, so like the rock art is at least 40, even over like 44,000 years old. So it's the oldest rock art in the world, and it's right here in Indonesia. So it's just amazing. So what they believe and how that a long time ago through rock art. And the key is to be able to date it, and this is what we're doing at the moment. We're trying to date the rock art in Indonesia.
Wow! So is the rock art in Indonesia is quite old, yeah, the oldest one?
Yeah, it's very, very, very old. So what we showed, so in 2014, when we had the first paper in Nature, we showed that in Sulawesi the rock art was at least 40,000 years old. So it means it's at least the same age as the oldest rock art in Europe. And so we showed at the time that when humans left Africa, they were probably fully modern. So some went to Europe and some went here in Asia, and they were both producing cave paintings, like stencil, large and little paintings, and that happened at least 40,000 years ago. And then we moved to Kemendikbud in Borneo, and there's a lot of rock art there also. And then we show that it's also at least 40,000. So we have a large animal painting that was at least 40,000, and stencils also 40,000. And then last year we published another paper in Nature on the rock art of Sulawesi. Again, so we went back to Sulawesi, and there we have a hunting scene. So it's a story, and that's at least 44,000 years old. So humans at that time were able to conceive a story, and they depicted it on the wall of the cave. And that's the only site like that I've seen so far in this region, and it's twice as old as anything like that in Europe or like anywhere else in the world. So it's fantastic. So it's a fantastic place to work. Indonesia, there's all of this rock art. The archaeology is just fantastic. Human arrived here a long time ago. So I was involved in some project. We dated some human remains from Sumatra. So we showed that it's between 60 and 70,000 years old. So modern human arrived here a long time ago. So I was involved in that. I dated the remains of the Homo sapiens. So when it was discovered for the first time, they thought that it was relatively young, maybe as young as maybe 12 or 15,000. Yeah. But then when they did more like excavation, they got a bigger pit. They realized that the stratigraphy is a lot more complicated. So they asked me if I can try to date the bones directly, which has never been done before. So I came here and I took some samples. I brought them back to Australia, and then we showed that they're not 12,000; they're at least 60,000. So we show so it's a different story. So they didn't coexist with our species, modern humans, for tens of thousands of years. They probably disappeared at the same time that modern humans arrived. Although we don't know yet if they were there at a later time. We don't know because the topsoil I think is gone in the cave. But we showed at the time that they're not 12,000, they're at least 60,000. So it was quite interesting. So yeah, like Indonesia is just a great place to do this kind of work. There's lots of there's lots of new research. So we found new rock art sites every year, and we have a good collaboration with ARKENAS, but also like the local adalah team. So we have things of people walking around for new rock outside, so it's very great. And then, and I think this region of the world, like Southeast Asia, is just a hot spot for new research. Like, it's just archaeology. It's just amazing. For example, so there's new research when people looked at the DNA of modern people that live today in Papua and in Australia, and they show that there is mixture with a Denisovan, but also possibly two other species that we don't know anything about. Okay, so maybe keep digging in Asia, we find them, but we know that there's those species. You know that. So
it's still a mystery,
yeah. So it's still a mystery. So I think it's a really good place to work.
Okay.
And also like the ARKENAS is just a great place. It's great researchers. It's a great collaboration, and we really work hard.
Okay. It's very nice. So it's you already doing the collaboration research with the ARKENAS. Very good way. And you go to every place in Indonesia to search the rock art painting in Indonesia. So from the latest discovery is that you find, and the team find the oldest rock art painting and the oldest scene,
like an hunting scene. It's fascinating.
This one,
it's that one.
Okay, so
and this is fascinating. So it's on a cave wall. It's about 4 meters long. There's a series of animals there. So this is a Noah, and you got pigs, which are probably.
So this is the Anoa.
Yeah, this is an Anoa. There's another one here, and this is Susovensis, we think. So a type of pig.
A pig,
and there's some remnants of some here. But what's interesting about it is that there's those little human figures. So there's one here, and there's some here, and they look to be steering or capturing those animals with ropes.
So which one, the human figure in here?
Yeah, there's one here. There's one here, and there's several little figures here.
One. Oh yeah. The animal is quite big, than the
So they've been depicted very small.
Oh.
And that's an interesting thing. So so the least that we can say is it's a scene. So it's a narrative scene. So it's the first time that we have an example of like storytelling.
Okay.
Someone is telling a story.
Okay.
And that's at least 44,000 years old.
44,000. Jadi 44,000 ya, teman-teman ya semua.
And this is just amazing. But it's interesting to look, when you look at those humans, they're not actually fully human. So one here has a tail. And some, so it's hard to see in this, but some here they have birds' head, face and stuff. So people were actually conceiving something that doesn't really exist in the real world as well at the same time. So they're making stories that are real, like a hunting scene, but they were making stories that are not real, like imagination.
Okay.
And that's just fascinating because of the age of it. So this is at least 44,000 years old, and it's twice as old as anything like that anywhere else in the world.
So you mentioned about the bird, the people using the bird, like is it a mask?
Well, we don't know. So people said, oh, maybe like it could be a mask. They disguise them themselves and they do one thing, but I don't think so, because why would you disguise yourself as a bird? It doesn't make sense, you know.
Okay.
And then so we can be sure, but we think it's a possibility that they're just inventing something that doesn't exist. And there's a term for that. It's called a Therianthro. And they're known in Europe, for example, there's some in Lascaux Cave, for example, that's about 20,000. It's called the shaft scene. So you see a human that has spear of bison, and he's on his back, and he's got a bird's head also. So it's quite interesting. And that's about 20,000, but this is at least 44,000, so it's twice as old.
Okay. Wow.
So, and that's the age that makes it so interesting. So it means that people, at least 44,000 years ago, were able of conceiving of things like that, like things that are real, but things that don't exist either.
Okay, so the important thing is the Anoa ya. Jadi Anoa ini sudah ada 40 tahun yang lalu sudah ada. Jadi sudah dicari orang gitu. Jadi sudah di hunting, jadi tempat perburuan Anoa. Jadi Anoa yang endemik di 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 Sulawesi itu sudah ada teman-temannya semuanya di sini. Jadi ini adalah bukti bahwa hewan Indonesia ini sudah ada di Sulawesi sejak 40.000 tahun yang lalu setidaknya, seperti itu. So, Max, what kind of the material they use this one?
Well, we haven't done any analysis on the pigment, but it's probably it's kind of an iron oxide that they applied there. It's interesting on this panel. There's two actually different painting episodes, so it's hard to see on this because it's printed on canvas. But we have like a darker red, which is most of the animal, and then one of the problems that we have is that there's a lot of like exfoliation. So the rock art has been there for a long time, and it's peeling away from the rock face, so it's disappearing.
Okay.
And then, for example, here we see there's a big part of this pig that has peeled off, and there's instances that have been placed inside, so they're more recent. And they're a different color, they're a little bit lighter.
Okay.
So there's two phases of painting in there.
So they try to recreate.
They didn't necessarily think to recreate, but someone put hands in, after the painting at exfoliated.
Yeah.
They put their hands
The
in
hand.
there.
Okay.
Like
So this is the hand,
Yeah, yes. So these are instances, but they were done later.
Okay.
We don't know when. We just know that the oldest ones were done at least 40 years ago. But we don't know when that was done. But that was done later.
Okay. Wow, it's very interesting ya. Jadi Indonesia itu surganya rock art painting ya. Jadi tidak hanya di Eropa, tapi di Indonesia juga kita memiliki yang namanya lukisan Tertua Di Dunia, seperti itu. Jadi Pak Max dengan timnya telah berusaha untuk mengupas budaya atau sejarah Indonesia, gitu. Kerjasama antara Griffith University dengan ARKENAS, gitu, seperti itu. Jadi teman-teman, mungkin itu aja dulu ya interview singkat kita dengan Pak Max. Mungkin lain kali kita akan menginterview peneliti asing lainnya yang bekerja sama dengan Pusat ARKENAS ya. Okay, Pak Max, thank you very much for the short interview. It's very good luck for you and your team ya. Okay, thank you and goodbye.